But you're not special. You're in the mathematically, you're being robbed and discriminated against just the same. And I know you're like, why are you bringing all this up? There's a reason. Because the anniversary of Charlottesville, I believe it was Monday, if I'm correct. I believe it was Monday, and I have so many clips, and I want to show just a clip of that, or of what happened on the anniversary of Charlottesville.
On the anniversary of the deadly Charlottesville riot, where neo-Nazis marched by torchlight, chanting about immigrants and Jews, the lawyer who helped organize that event, that march, tweeted this: 8 years ago, you were an extremist if you protest being replaced by immigrants. Your life was over if you talked about stopping or reversing it. Now it is official White House policy. Never give up. While ex-Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarrio put it this way, quote, things we were doing and talking about in 2017 that were taboo, they're no longer taboo. They're mainstream now. Honestly, what do we have to complain about these days? Joining us now on the anniversary of the deadly Charlottesville riot.
You know what? That's funny Enrique Tarrio said that, because first of all, he's Hispanic, and second of all, he is still complaining. You know what's happening? So you know how Trump pardoned all the J6ers? Well, after they were pardoned, they brought this huge lawsuit led by Enrique Tarrio saying, just like Trump said, that they were arrested unlawfully, were tortured and abused in prison. And guess what's happening? Trump's DOJ is like arguing the opposite, like that it never happened, which it didn't happen. But you know what I mean? Trump pardoned them and they're trying to sue the U.S. government and get millions of dollars paid for by us. And Trump's not giving you money, you idiots. Mediocre white men being confused about who they are. And Trump's arguing like they had the most amazing time and nothing ever happened and they were treated lawfully, which they were. But it's just ironic because Enrique Tarrio is like, wait, I thought like you pardoned us because it never should have happened. It's like, oh, you clearly don't understand Donald Trump. Like, you're not special. You're just some weirdo that he has zero respect for. Oh, and I just want to say, when ICE is not terrorizing, not ICE, when the National Guard isn't like lurking around here's what they're actually doing in DC. I just do want to say that. They're trash people. The National Guard are just picking up trash. Trash people. They're just trash picker-uppers. But I do, and you're like, what? Who cares? That's pick up trash. I just want you to know, for the National Guard to be deployed in DC, it is $1 million a month. When they were deployed in LA, it was like, I think 2.6 million a month. We are paying for them to be trash collectors. Our tax dollars are paying, $1 million a day. Or, wait, no, a month. Wait, I think I have hold on. I have the stat somewhere. I need to look it up. I need to think. Is it a month? No, it's not a month. It's a day. It's a day. Sorry, it's a day. It's a day. It's $1 million a day to have, I'm using Trump's words, war fighters with orange crossing guard vests on, with little sticks with nails on the end. $1 million a day. $1 million a day to have military people pick up trash in DC. Like, that should make you sick every second it goes on. Yeah, we're not doing cancer research anymore, but don't anyone worry. We are. Wait, what is this? Oh yeah, that's another good one. This is a video I found of an actual National Guards member talking about this, which it's really good.
I was really reluctant to make this video because I am an active National Guard member and I don't really know what the consequences are going to be for me speaking in this manner. But what I do know is that the American people deserve to know how we are being used to police you and how you are footing the bill for it. In the National Guard, unless we are federally activated into a federal mission, we normally operate within our state doing state missions, and our commander-in-chief is our governor. Now, in times of crisis, the National Guard can be activated by either the governor or the president to do federally funded missions. And right now, the president has declared there is a crisis in D.C. But according to this, the president isn't authorized to use military as law enforcement on federally funded missions. But there's a loophole that allows National Guard members to do federally funded missions but stay under the command and control of their state's governor. It's called Title 32. And conveniently, when in that status, they are not subject to this act. Normally, Title 32 is used for training and exercise purposes, but right now, it is being used to legally send troops to D.C. to do law enforcement. That's the whole thing. Like, this is all legal. So, like, I know that I have an obligation to not follow unlawful orders, and they do too. But right now, there have not been any unlawful orders given. So I do hate to see my brothers and sisters in arms getting yelled at because, like, they haven't done anything wrong just yet. But just because a thing is legal does not make it right. And that's the main thing I want people to focus on, is that it does not have to be this way. We can change the laws to prevent.
And someone said, what is the... Yeah, I don't think they've been, as far as deploying the National Guard, been told to do something on the... I think that's why they're picking up trash. But I'm trying to think. When Pete, one of the 853 times Pete Hegseth has been called to Congress under oath, Alyssa Slotkin, she is a senator from Michigan, brilliant former CIA officer, CIA analyst, like the brains of the operation. I remember seeing a clip where she was like, yes or no, have you given the order to the National Guard to shoot or harm unarmed citizens? And he kept like obfuscating and like, I have the clip somewhere in another outlet. I can probably find it. And he would not say yes or no. So like, to anyone's knowledge, he was under oath, and just like with the confirmation hearings, refused to answer whether or not he had. But at this point, no one effing knows what their orders are. But this man is saying, I am in the National Guard, and to my knowledge, they haven't been given unlawful orders, which, yeah, I'm going to look for that clip. I know I have it.
Our service members from being utilized as simply law enforcement at the behest of the president. There was actually a proposal to close this loophole 5 years ago, the first time that the president deployed the D.C. National Guard. One of the ways in doing that is to have Congress clarify that governors may not send their National Guard troops into another state or territory without that state or territory's consent. Because right now, if a president wants to use the military on American soil, all he has to do is just find a governor that's willing to do his dirty work. By the way, the National Guard being deployed in D.C. is costing you, the taxpayer, over $1 million a day. They don't even know how long this operation is going to last. They want to expand into other cities. It is costing you, the American taxpayer, over $1 million a day to have our good service members stand around in D.C. with an unclear mission for an unknown amount of days. As a service member, I pledge an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And I don't want to see the commitment I made to serve be taken advantage of any longer with this loophole. Call your senator, call your representative, and ask that they put forth some legislation to help close this loophole and prevent other military members' service from being taken advantage of by the executive branch. I was really reluctant.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said it beautifully. It is, I mean, these are our tax dollars. Just remember, Doge saved no money. In fact, they cost us millions of dollars. Donald Trump is spending. Now Donald Trump is a authoritarian fascist dictator, which whenever you hear MAGA incorrectly identify a socialist dictator, that is what Trump now is. He's stealing equity stake in companies. He stole an equity stake in Intel, a 10% stake, which will produce billions and billions. Is that going to save our Medicaid? No, it's all going. We have to borrow $4 to $5 trillion now immediately to pay off the tax breaks for corporations and billionaires. It's not real socialism. First of all, it's democratic, voluntary, and voted on. And it has nothing to do with helping an oligarchy, a bunch of crony capitalists get richer. Trump is stealing. Trump is stealing from everyone around us. The largest transfers of wealth to the top of the economy we've ever seen in life. Like, wake up, MAGA, and hold the guy you put in office accountable for something. please, I mean, not please, I don't have any faith in you all to do anything. I think it's beyond you at this point. And I don't want to be weird, but did you guys see that Cracker Barrel put its logo back to the cracker in the barrel? I just want to say, please, TikTok, white men want to be called crackers. Okay? I thought they did not want to be called crackers. Now we know. Who cares? Oh, well, I'll tell you who cares. I'll tell you. It's kind of like stealing from a corporation, right? It's like a mob bullying a corporation by stock manipulation. Yeah, that's not... What do you mean, who cares? I think we should all care. I think, like, Trump is encouraging, egging on a mob to manipulate the stock market. Like, that's a very dangerous thing. I don't personally care. I mean, I do care about the financial side. I just thought the surprising part to me is that I thought that white men didn't want to be called crackers, and I know that they basically they are manipulating the stock market for the right to forever be called crackers. So that's the main thing. But yeah, I don't think anyone should be mob bullying the stock market. Here, I want to show you guys a couple things. I think I have these clips somewhere. Cracker Barrel may not realize that caving on the logo isn't enough for the right-wing grifters to call off the boycott. Yeah, that's the point. They're not going to stop, which... Yeah, no one else is going there but white people anyways, and now they're still not going to go. This company's going out of business. Whoever has equity in it is in trouble. But, I mean, breaking. We said we would listen. Cracker Barrel says its new logo is going away and is bringing back the beloved old-timer, the cracker in the barrel. Okay, the company confirmed that in a news statement. This is MAGA psycho. Cracker Barrel caving and restoring the old logo is a good start, but it's not enough. It would be a shame if their Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok comments were filled with demands to end funding for all pride shows. This is why it matters. These are psychotic, uneducated bigots who can't read or do math, who now want to pressure them into not allowing the LGBTQIA to come in the restaurants. Not that I mean, who in the F is going to Cracker Barrel besides 75-year-olds? But to ending funding for all ages pride shows and an end to DEI plus pronoun training at their corporate office. Like, you do not comply with uneducated white terrorists. This is what they're saying. Like, this matters because... But then again, I think this is a brand that has always been geared towards crackers next to barrels. And if you guys want to put your old restaurant chain that no one else gives an F out of business, go ahead, you weirdos. Like, use your brains. Like, it's like shutting down your own clubhouse. It's almost like it's a coordinated MAGA shakedown. And it is. Like, the place you guys like to hang out, you want to put them all out of business? Cool. Like, look at the heat map of where these places are. I'll help you. Backwoods rural areas and along interstates. It's not going to largely affect the rest of us, but yeah, you guys shut down your own favorite place. Like, you guys are super weird, but, don't tell them. But I mean, yeah, this is the same way Trump is using authoritarian fascism to steal and shake down corporations. MAGA's doing the same thing. Hey, you want the next step is, and this is why it matters. You shouldn't let I don't want you to seat LGBTQIA. If you're feeding gay people, then we're going to put you out of business. Do you see what I mean? This happened during the Third Reich. That's what happened. That's why certain businesses had to have a yellow star and say, hey, like, this is a Jewish-owned business. Like, that's what is happening. This is a Holocaust. This is discrimination, financial Holocaust. That's what happened before the final solution is we boycott, we don't go anywhere where those other people are. This is a huge deal. Huge deal. But again, do call white people crackers because that's what they want. I am glad to know that. I thought you guys didn't want to be called crackers. I will call you guys crackers from now on. I'm so glad you told me. God, Trump. Okay, there it goes. I was like, so what's wrong with the sound? I just want to say this because this is important. I mean, Trump is driving the economy into the ground, and we all need to know that. But he keeps talking about tariff rebates, and I thought this was a great clip to, like, really strike home the insanity of that.
So what to do with the $4 trillion coming from the tariffs? Trump once said he was considering a kind of tariff rebate check for American consumers. Here's what the Treasury Secretary said about that last week. Take a listen.
I think at a point we're going to be able to do it, but President Trump and I are laser focused on paying down the debt.
What do you think?
I think he's exactly right that it would be crazy for there to be a rebate check. By the way, Jake, do you remember just a few months ago we were being told that there would be so many trillions of dollars saved by Doge, we'd all be getting rebate checks? And I went all over TV having arguments with people saying how big would the rebate check be? And it turns out Doge never saved anything. In this case, the Republicans just passed a budget. The budget took an already existing budget deficit and made it worse. Let's not talk in trillions. What this is basically $400 billion per year over 10 years. That's the easy way to think about it. And basically, they've already spent that. They've spent that giving tax cuts to rich people. So what does this mean? It means overall what we've done is we've swapped one set of taxes for another. It used to be we had high income taxes on rich people. We've gotten rid of that. And to fill the budget hole, we're now putting tariffs on. Now, tariffs are paid by everyone. They're a sales tax, effectively. And so that means we've shifted taxes from the rich to the working and middle class because all of us buy imported stuff and therefore all of us are paying these tariffs.
Justin Wolfers, University of Michigan. Thank you so much. Good to see you, sir.
I just want to say this, and I looked it up. Trump continues to say he's collected $4 trillion in tariffs, which I don't know if Jake Tapper is now a robot who's being blackmailed by Trump. But as of June 2025, we've collected $108 billion in tariff revenue, which I've realized MAGA has no concept of the difference between a million, a billion, and definitely not the difference between a billion and a trillion. Like, if you think that collecting 500 billion, 600 billion, like, you guys are so confused. And by the way, it's like saying, hey, we need to pay down the debt, and the way we're going to do that is by stealing from ourselves. Why would we want to steal from ourselves when we're paying state taxes, we're paying federal taxes, and then we're being robbed on top of that? MAGA's like, yeah, this is a great idea. It took us... Well, actually, some of you still don't understand who pays tariffs. Like, actually, so I was about to say it took us a long time to convince you that we had to pay tariffs. I don't even think, actually, I don't think they know that yet. The majority of them still don't get it. But I think they're starting to, like, they're starting to be like, why does everything cost more? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, and I'm just information on whistleblowing going on, just in terms of all of our data Trump is stealing all of our data. Yeah, I just think this is this report came out this morning. Actually, this was either New York Times or Washington Post article exclusive that was released yesterday, and then this is the CNN report on it, and it's terrifying.
That your sensitive personal information may have been compromised. A whistleblower inside the Social Security Administration says Doge employees created a copy of the records of more than 300 million Americans and put that data on a vulnerable server. CNN's Matt Egan joins me now with this new reporting. So what more is in this complaint from the whistleblower?
Yeah, Eric, we knew that DOJ was taking its move fast, break things attitude to the federal government. Now we're learning more about some of the potential consequences there. And this stunning whistleblower complaint, it's not coming from some low-level employee or some intern. This is coming from the chief data officer at the Social Security Administration, aka someone who would know. Now, in this 18-page complaint, he alleges that among the critical data that was stored in this vulnerable cloud server, it includes people's names, their social security numbers, their dates of birth, their addresses, citizenship status, even their parents' names, all of it stored in this cloud server. Now, Charles Borges, the whistleblower here, says that the copy of the database apparently lacks any security oversight from the agency or even tracking to determine who has access. And he wrote in this complaint, should bad actors gain access to this cloud environment, Americans may be susceptible to.
This is the chief data officer. I want you to understand that. This is not a rando that's like, hey, some things might be going on. This is the chief engineer, the chief hacker, the guy that can do anything he wants, saying that this happened. This is real. This happened. The chief data officer is like, hey, he stole all our data.
Widespread identity theft may lose healthcare and food benefits. He went on to say that the government could even be.
Wait, when I say stole data, I just want to make sure everyone's clear. All of it was uploaded to an unsecure server that hackers, thieves, Russia, anyone can access.
Responsible for having to reissue every single American a new social security number.
Said we knew this. This is new. I just want to be clear. This is not the DOJ security breaches. This is new. Like the last big one where a whistleblower was online and I was showing you the clips, that was the NLRB data that was exfiltrated and they showed the spike in exfiltration and things. No, this is something totally different.
At great cost. And he said, look, he did sound the alarm internally, repeatedly. He said that he warned people internally that something was wrong, but he said to his knowledge, no action was taken. Now, CNN has reached out to the Social Security Administration, and they did say they take all of whistleblower complaints seriously. They say they do safeguard personal data. They say that in this case, the data was walled off from the internet. It was kept in a long-standing server.
I read this report, which this is all a lie. The guy is saying the opposite. Like the response of the White House, and when they're like, hey, the guy's like, this is what he's saying is not true. So they just repeated the lie that the chief data officer, this is the person that has access to all of our data at the Social Security Administration, is saying everything. The response is a lie.
And they also say they're unaware of any compromise of that data here. But look, Erica, we got to stay tuned because clearly someone very high up here in this agency is very concerned.
Right, and they say it's walled off. He said,
not someone very high up, the highest person, the chief data officer, the smartest of all the smarts, the person that has access to all the data, is saying unequivocally, I know this happened. And the White House is like, oh, I don't know. I'm just a little bit lost. Like, maybe we don't know if it happened or not. Yeah. Okay. Like, I just think everyone's like, we already knew this. No, like, I think everyone needs to understand this is something much bigger than anything we have ever heard. But we're so now, like, desensitized that, like, and I actually, if what you're saying is, I assume this was already happening, I think it's good. Expect the worst. I always tell myself that. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but when I worked in social media, like for a large social media company, like the CEO, I used to just be like, God, like, what's going to happen? Like, this seems really messed up because the amounts of people's data I had access to as a random person at a social media company that worked in advertising, and he literally said, he's like, do you have a Facebook page? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's over. And I was like, what's over? And he's like, everything, anything about you, the microdata, who you are from now and going into the future, it's over. They have access to all of it. Like, that was his way of telling me, like, is that, maybe that will help you sleep better. Like, anyone who wants to find your, like, I mean, metadata, package it, sell it, like, it was over at Facebook profile. And I was like, okay. But, I mean, this is government data that is supposed to be kept in silos, that the chief data officer of the Social Security Administration is like, it was all stolen and put on an unprotected server. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. And, like, so many terrible things are happening that people are just like, oh, like, I guess that's just another thing that maybe we should care about. I mean, I want to show this speech of J.B. Pritzker because I want to give us some hope. Oh my gosh, Kira, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. DC resident here, you're right. They are nowhere to be found in Anacostia, where the bit of violent crime actually happens. Yeah, exactly. And the guardsmen patrolling metro stations during rush hour are now armed, and they weren't for the past week. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, they are apparently carrying weapons now. I'm scared. And I wonder, yeah, hopefully this will end, but in DC, like, there's lawsuits going on. Hopefully this will end. But yeah, it's getting scarier and scarier. I think the problem with DC is, I think it is Trump's goal to hold DC, you know? Like, whenever he truly, like, he doesn't want another, like, the next time he does a coup, he wants to control DC. And that's what scares me for the people. Oh, I have a good clip. Thank you for reminding me. This clip I saw watching Ben Meiselis's podcast, and I was like, exactly. Like, this, it's time. Everyone needs to wake up and stop both sidesing it and saying, oh, well, the Democratic Party's falling apart, or, oh, we're all guilty of something. Like, we're watching a coup happen. What are they, Tim Walz called it, like I'm not going to get it right, a slow rolling fascist coup or something. It's true.
So now we're seeing whether it's Governor Newsom, whether it's Governor Pritzker in Illinois, whether it's Governor Walz in Minnesota, whether it's Governor Wes Moore in Maryland, whether it's Governor Hochul in New York. I could continue and go down. There's a lot of other governors as well, and I'm not going to spend the whole show naming every governor, but who are finally pushing back and saying this is fascism. Stop both sidesing it, media. Stop trying to sow division within the Democratic Party when we literally have military invasions, not into foreign countries, which would be bad by the United States, into American cities. We're talking about deployments of active duty military with missions in states in the United States, also aided and abetted by red state governors who, again, are the takers, who wouldn't exist without the blue states, who have far higher crime rates than the blue states. And so it's like this whole system here in the United States is allowing this rule by red states, minority rule in terms of, you know, who actually controls the highest population centers, the lowest economies. The failed states are now attacking the actual successful and thriving states. So you go after California, we're like number one in almost every single stat, from businesses to startup environments to public education systems. You go look at Massachusetts, you go look at Illinois, you look at these states, that's a commonality. Then you take a look at, like, what's going on in Mississippi. You take a look at what's going on in Oklahoma. You take a look at what's going on in Texas. You take a look at what's going on in all these red states. It's a common thing. So now we're seeing whether it's Governor Newsom,
Amen. And DC too. I mean, truly. But I think in states, because of the federal courts, it probably won't last forever. But my fear is for DC. This is why DC needs to be a state, because Trump is trying to occupy DC. So when he tries to stay in power, he won't leave. Like, no one can force him out again. It's terrifying to even think about that we have to depend on like people who do or do not like, or people's own version of, hey, like, is this right or wrong? Okay, and J.B. Pritzker like gave one of the most earth-shaking speeches I've ever seen. And remember, I'm just saying this at like bad hours. Like, I hate billionaires. The consolidation of wealth is a crime against the American people. And I'm not, again, MAGA, that's not my feeling. That's not my feelings. I can make a mathematical argument for when wealth is consolidated and held at the top of the economy, how everyone else suffers. Okay. So, but I do think that we can make a distinction between J.B. Pritzker is a billionaire, I believe. He's the heir to the Hyatt fortune. If you didn't know, he's the governor of Illinois. Trump called J.B. Pritzker fat. Trump, you've got a leg that doesn't work. You keep telling men they shouldn't be wearing makeup, but you got a full face of terrible makeup on every day. You stink to high heaven. What the hell is going on with your hands? Like, your brain does not work. Literally, you were dumb when your brain worked. Whatever's going on now, I mean, I actually don't even want to make fun of what's going on now with your brain because I don't think it's funny. When you have to get on Air Force One, you're dragging a leg up the stairs, and he's like calling J.B. Pritzker fat. But anyways, I'm telling you that so when you hear him addressing it in the beginning of the most awesome, like, and not just like, it's not like he's just attacking Trump with ad homs, and he never does. He's just like, hey, factually, I'm going to explain why the occupation, using the military to occupy American cities, is wrong. And man, very impressed by like the way he communicates. Very impressed. And I love, he's on the water taxi in Chicago, if you've ever been to Chicago, at first. Not in the end, but at first saying this.
Well, from my perspective, it takes one to know one on the weight question. And the president, of course,
responding to Trump. Imagine being as unfortunate looking as Donald Trump and talking about someone else's looks. Like, this is the fascination of narcissism and narcissists and watching them grow old. Remember, they think they're God. They think they are godlike. They're the best looking people ever. I always talk about how it's fascinating for me to watch my mother get old because she's a malignant narcissist. And it's like, I'm always like, okay, is she going to realize she looks different than when she thought? Because yes, my mother was very beautiful at one time. But like, no, they don't. Just so you know, in Trump's mind, it is my belief, by analyzing my mother, that they don't believe they look any different. Like, to them, they're always amazing looking.
Self is not in good shape. So he ought to respond to that from me. I would say also that his personal attacks on me are just evidence of a guy who's still living in fifth grade. He's the kind of bully that throws invectives at people. And because he knows that what he's saying is actually commentary on himself. Well, he
got it right. And just know this. All narcissists are doing are projecting, right? They're pointing at someone else and just saying, I'm guilty of this. But I'm God. So I've blocked out the self-awareness to know I'm talking about myself. I'm deeply insecure and I'm pointing at someone else and just confessing to what I'm guilty of. That is 100% true. And I didn't, like, this is my mother. I love my mother, but I mean, narcissistic personality disorder is a set of survival skills, and that is what they're doing. Like, my mother will point at me and be like, you, this is who you are. I'm like, no, that's who you are. Like, you are describing yourself and screaming at me. It's very strange.
Crime is a reality we all face in this country. Public safety has been among our highest priorities since taking office. We have hired more police and given them more funding. We banned assault weapons, ghost guns, bump stocks, and high-capacity magazines. We invested historic amounts into community violence intervention programs. We listened to our local communities, to the people who live and work in the places that are most affected by crime, and asked them what they needed to help make their neighborhoods safer. Those strategies have been working. Crime is dropping in Chicago. Murders are down 32% compared to last year and nearly cut in half since 2021. Shootings are down 37% since last year and 57% from 4 years ago. Robberies are down 34% year over year. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%. So in case there was any doubt as to the motivation behind Trump's military occupations, take note. 13 of the top 20 cities in homicide rate have Republican governors. None of these cities is Chicago. 8 of the top 10 states with the highest homicide rates are led by Republicans. None of those states is Illinois. Memphis, Tennessee, Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
By the way, and it's more, and forget about, if you don't look at homicide rate, if you just look at violent crime, the rate of violent crime per capita, per 100,000, like, I mean, at cities, like top 100, vast majority of those cities are Republican, conservative strongholds in red states. And someone, you know, when Trump was having that glazing session with his cabinet where everyone was literally just like, is it my turn to blow you now, sir? Which is so gross, like so uncomfortable. So and then it was time for questions. I think someone asked like, hey, the majority, if you are trying to say it's about crime rates, the majority of the cities you should be sending the National Guard to are red cities. And Trump was like, that's not true. There's not that many of them. Okay, so the opposite is true. And if you were, again, all of the replays of the People's Receipts are available on my YouTube, which is same as here, Girl Has No Name. On Monday's episode, I was showing a chart of how many of the highest violent crime cities per capita were red, and then there was highlighted lines of the ones that Trump had sent National Guard from those places to go to DC or to go to Los Angeles. Like, it is an effing joke if you can read or do math. So MAGA's out, Trump's out, but if you can read or do math, wake up.
Have higher crime rates than Chicago, and yet Donald Trump is sending troops here and not there? Ask yourself why. If Donald Trump was actually serious about fighting crime in cities like Chicago, he, along with his congressional Republicans, would not be cutting over $800 million in public safety and crime prevention grants nationally, including cutting $158 million in funding to Illinois for...
I'm sorry. So today there was a pew-pewing in Minnesota. Trump has defunded the police, period.
Violence prevention programs that deploy trained outreach workers to de-escalate conflict on our streets. Cutting $71 million in law enforcement grants to Illinois. Direct money for police departments through programs like Project Safe Neighborhoods, the state and local anti-terrorism training program, and the Rural Violent Crime Reduction Initiative. Cutting $137 million in child protection measures in Illinois that protect our kids against abuse and neglect. Trump is defunding the police.
Period. And this is true of DC as well. And MAGA, I know you're incapable of doing factual research, even though you have a supercomputer in your pocket, but this is reality. Trump is saying crime's out of control, even though crime is down in these blue cities he's targeting. And there are red cities with much higher violent crime rates that he is somehow ignoring. But if he did, which we know he doesn't, but MAGA's brains don't work, so just to follow the line of logic to its natural conclusion, if he did care, why would he take all the money away? Why would he lower standards? Why would he divert workers from FBI agents from working on trafficking and crime in the domestic United States to focus on just terrorizing brown people? Follow the money. Every word Donald Trump says is a lie.
To the members of the press who are assembled here today and listening across the country, I am asking for your courage to tell it like it is. This is not a time to pretend here that there are two sides to this story. This is not a time to fall back into the reflexive crouch that I so often see, where the authoritarian creep by this administration is ignored in favor of some horse race piece on who will be helped politically by the president's actions. Donald Trump wants to use the military to occupy a U.S. city, punish his dissidents, and score political points. If this were happening in any other country, we would have no trouble calling it what it is, a dangerous power grab. To the members of the press,
this is one of my favorite speeches I've ever heard of a governor in the United States. And it's completely factual. This is not about feelings. This is what Trump's doing. Wasting more of our tax dollars, focusing on places, and lying and saying there's crime problems, defunding these cities from the programs that have made crime drop in them, creating more crime, then deploying the military to the tune of, in DC, it's $1 million a day. I think when it was in LA, it was like $2.6 million a day. Just costing us more money based on lies. Same thing with release the water in California. Remember that? He was yelling about that again yesterday when his weird cabinet was glazing him, saying he released the water. He wasted billions of gallons of water that they save for farmers during the summer. Like, wake up. Oh, and please tap the screen and share the live if you can. I so appreciate it. We are almost at 500K. Let's get there. The arrow in the right-hand bottom corner is there. Share the live. If you don't have anyone to share it with, push the copy link button. If you would like to subscribe, please do. I'm trying to get my subscriptions up, and I appreciate it. I know people have said, like, you can't buy multiple subscriptions. I have no idea why. I don't know. I'm always in trouble on TikTok, so maybe that will change, maybe not. I don't know.
Earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, "Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city?" Instead, I say, "Mr. President, do not come to Chicago." You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Your remarks about this effort over the last several weeks have betrayed a continuing slip in your mental faculties and are not fit for the auspicious office that you occupy. Most alarming, you seem to lack any appropriate concern as our commander-in-chief for the members of the military that you would so callously deploy as pawns in your ever more alarming grabs for power. As a governor, I've had to make the decision in the past to call up members of the National Guard into active service. And I think it's worth taking a moment to reflect on how seriously I take that responsibility and on the many things that I consider before asking these brave men and women to leave their homes and their communities to serve in any capacity for us. As I've said many times in the past, members of the National Guard are not trained to serve as law enforcement. They are trained for the battlefield, and they're good at it. They're not trained to arrest people and read them their Miranda rights. They did not sign up for the National Guard to fight crime. And when we call them into service, we are reaching into local communities and taking people who have jobs and families away from their neighborhoods and the people who rely upon them. It is insulting to their integrity and to the extraordinary sacrifices that they make to serve in the Guard, to use them as a political prop, where they could be put in situations where they will be at odds with their local communities, the ones that they seek to serve. I know Donald Trump doesn't care about the well-being of the members of our military, but I do, and so do all the people standing here.
And he does not. Oh, by the way, when I was talking about the giant data breach that this is on mute and it just keeps playing GIF sounds. When I was talking about the data breach at the Social Security Administration, thank you for this super chat, Anne. And she said, insecure tech bros storing info on an insecure server. Isn't that the truth? Oh my God. If you only worked in the tech industry, that would mean so much. Isn't that always the way it goes? This speech is one of the best speeches. Like, I mean, if you ever want to just sum up the BS Trump is doing and the way he's terrorizing democratic cities based on lies to consolidate power and take over the government. I mean, I want to know who wrote this speech.
Finally, to the Trump administration officials who are complicit in this scheme, to the public servants who have forsaken their oath to the Constitution to serve the petty whims of an arrogant little man, to any federal official who would come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous, we are watching and we are taking names. This country has survived darker periods than the one that we're going through right now, and eventually the pendulum will swing back, maybe even next year. Donald Trump has already shown himself to have little regard for the many acolytes that he has encouraged to commit crimes on his behalf. You can delay justice for a time, but history shows you cannot prevent it from finding you eventually. If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law. As Dr. King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Humbly, I would add, it doesn't bend on its own. History tells us we often have to apply needed to make sure that the arc gets where it needs to go. This is one of those. Finally,
I mean, truly, and I always say this, when Matt and I were interviewing Alyssa Ellman, who's running against Claudia Tenney in New York 24, it's like, that's what I loved about her. It's like, it doesn't matter who is in your district. There are like 750,000 people you now protect with your life. Doesn't matter who they voted for president, if they like you or not. It's like, when people are your people, you protect them with your life. Like, if I ran for Congress, you would see a different me. I don't care who those 750,000 people are in my district. There is nothing I won't do to protect them. And I love the way he speaks about Chicagoans, right? I love it. And Illinois in general, you hurt anyone here and you will get it. And that's like one billionaire to another, to a grifter who stole a lot of money, and hopefully it will all be taken back one day. But I think that's beautiful. I think we should all have governors that say that. Like, if you hurt anyone here, you will live to regret it.
Should require extraordinary justification. Look around you right now. Does this look like an emergency? Look at this. Go talk to the people of Chicago who are enjoying a gorgeous afternoon in this city. Ask the families buying ice cream on the Riverwalk. Go see the students who are at the beach after school. Talk to the workers that I just met taking the water taxi to get here. Find a family who's enjoying today sitting on their front porch and ask if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator. Ask if they'd like to pass through a checkpoint with unidentified officers in masks while taking their kids to school. Should require extraordinary justice.
I love Chicago too. Like, don't ruin a Chicago summer. I love Chicago. The best part of the Midwest is the summer, especially in Chicago. Do not interrupt a good Chicago summer with your lies and racism and authoritarian fascist bullshit, Trump. Chicago's an amazing place. If you've never been there, check it out. And he's telling the absolute, stop it, Trump, stop it. Leave these people alone.
This is not about fighting.
I've been to Chicago in the winter. I know about the lake effect. I used to, we had an office there, the social media company I worked for, and a lot of my clients were there. Oh my God. I once tried to leave a hotel to go meet with one of my clients, and the door hit me. I pushed the door open and thought I was leaving the hotel, and it hit me, and I fell down. I know Chicago in the winter. I've been there.
Crime. This is about Donald Trump searching for any justification to deploy the military in a blue city, in a blue state, to try and intimidate his political rivals. This is about the President of the United States and his complicit lackey, Stephen Miller, searching for ways to lay the groundwork to circumvent our democracy, militarize our cities, and end elections. There is no emergency in Chicago that calls for armed military intervention. This is not about...
Anyways, I 100% love JB Pritzker's vibe, and same with Newsom, right? That vibe of I will protect it. There's nothing I'm not going to do to protect people in my state. The crazier Trump gets, that posture is what we need to take, right? And not even so much that, also with Newsom, as someone who was raised by a malignant narcissist who's much smarter than Trump, you have to go farther than that. Trump is past, if you hurt someone I care about, I'm gonna make you regret it. Newsom's oh, you think you're crazy? I'll show you crazy. That is how you defeat malignant narcissists. The reason why Bob doesn't try it anymore is because I was I'm now more insane than you. Oh, you think you're crazy? Whatever you do to me, it will be 1,000 times worse. You will regret every time you make me feel uncomfortable. Every time I have anxiety, what is going to happen to you is going to be so terrible that you will never make me feel uncomfortable again. That's how you make narcissists stop. You can't change them. But you make them modify their behavior by learned experience. You want to do bad things? Let's see you want to out crazy me? It's not going to work. And that's what Gavin Newsom is essentially doing. And it's we don't want to live in a world where we have to do that. But I promise you, they don't respond to anything else. But you have to match them and then be hey, whatever you think you're capable of, I'm smarter than you. And you're not going to see me coming, and something terrible is going to happen to you. That's when my mom started leaving me alone. And she's oh, she's nuts.
Look at how beautiful this city is. This city is moving in the right direction on crime. That we have been, in fact, over the last 4 years, we have seen homicides drop in half. And that is something that the President of the United States should pay attention to. I know he doesn't read. I know he doesn't listen to very many people, but I know he watches television. And so
this is what I'm saying. This is what you have to do. Shame the devil. We now have the governor of Illinois screaming into a microphone, I know Donald Trump can't read. Thank you. I told you, this is how you have to do it. Stop being nice. Stop taking the high road and say the truth. This man can't read. This man is an idiot. This man is dragging one leg up the stairs. This man was dumb before the dementia. Like, that's how you have to do it.
Homicides drop in half, and that is something that the President of the United States should pay attention to. I know he doesn't read. I know he doesn't listen to very many people, but I know he watches television. And so perhaps if somebody from Fox News or from Newsmax is here, they'll cover the fact that Chicago is in much better shape as a result of the work that we are doing to prevent crime, to interrupt crime, to reduce crime, to increase the number of police. Our state police are up during my time in office. I want the president to understand that we do not want troops on the ground in the city of Chicago. Neither do the people of Chicago or the people of the state.
You gave him the warning and then whatever comes next. But, like, this is a governor we need. You know what I mean? Like, stop being nice. Yeah, that's why I pinned Brian's comment. Taking the high road is what got us here. Stop it. Malignant narcissists do not respond to the high road. And I just want malignant narcissists believe they're God. They're Machiavellian sadists. And they're psychopaths. That is the dark triad, which, by the way, I gave you guys examples of the statistical analysis and the research I like to do. One of these days, I'm going to do a whole presentation. I'm trying to get one of my favorite other creators who's like an expert on narcissism to like kind of do like a conversation with me about it. But yeah, I've been psychologically profiling MAGA and malignant narcissists like Trump using like the Nuremberg trial journals and then drawing the parallels to Trump and then creating psych profiles for all of the pathetic groups in MAGA. And I'm going to do that one of these days. I'm just waiting to see if I can get one of my favorite creators to talk about it with me. I'm going to end on this, and then I have much more, and I'll just let it bleed into tomorrow's show. But this is Jasmine Crockett, which I talked about this. I talked a little bit. Well, I definitely went into it on Monday, how I was looking into the actual math behind Texas's redistricting. They essentially eliminated her district. That is how terrified Trump is of Jasmine Crockett and black women in general, the most educated cross-section of America, that her district is gone. And she's going to run in a new district. But I was talking about how the redistricting is essentially based on people that voted for Trump in 2024, which a lot of those are Hispanics. So I don't think the Hispanic population of Texas is going to be very happy with Trump. But I just wanted to show this clip of Jasmine.
If the Democrats take over after the midterms next year, the House and or Senate, do you think they're going to push for investigations into Trump's family and the whole crypto acquisitions that he is getting?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you asked.
Here we go.
Listen, so long as we end up taking the House, which I fully anticipate that we will do, and we are going to work hard to obviously help our Senate colleagues as well, then as someone who serves on the Oversight Committee and hopes to lead the Oversight Committee, I can guarantee you that we will do what we are supposed to do as constitutionally sworn members of the House, which means that we will conduct oversight. That means that we will investigate. We will look at whether or not this president himself has violated the emoluments clause as it relates to, say, such things as getting a $400 million plane from the Qataris. We also will make sure that we're looking into all these business deals that they have going on. Think about it this way, Alex. They were going after Hunter because he sat on a board. Think about how much money they are raking in, whether we're talking about the next golf resort that they're setting up in Qatar, or whether we're talking about them leveling Gaza, as they've talked about, and talked about how it would be great beachfront property, whether we're talking about this crypto scam, the scam that people didn't even want to walk into and show their faces. Let me tell you, there is no shortage of things for us to dig into and determine whether or not there have been not only violations of the law, but definitely violations of our Constitution as a whole.
Did you make a little news here? Didn't you say you hope to lead that committee?
I absolutely do. Unfortunately, we are going to lay our dear colleague, Jerry Conley, to rest here on Tuesday. And there will have to be an election to determine who is going to lead the oversight committee. And ultimately, I am hoping and praying that my colleagues see that I can provide what we need as a team to make sure that we can move forward and instill some confidence in the American people by knowing that they have a real fighter who will not back down, even in the face of all the threats that I will have waged at me, because Lord knows I get death threats every single day. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that God will never leave my side. And so I will fight fearlessly and ferociously for the American people.
Okay, I accidentally played the wrong clip. So that's a great clip. Let me show you the clip of her talking about redistrict. So we get 2 Jasmine clips, which is even better. But yeah, that was not the clip I meant to play, but I have the clip I meant to play. I found the link. I just gotta pull it up live real quick because it's good. Hold on. It's a TikTok clip. Okay, got it. I just need to get it started. Okay. Hopefully it won't lag. Okay.
Jasmine Crockett just caused a Republican meltdown as she has completely ruined their plans. Now, as you know, Republicans in Texas have redrawn their congressional maps, and in doing so have eliminated Jasmine Crockett's current district, and they thought that would be the end of